Welcome to Out Loud, the queer creative podcast presented by the Q LGBTQ Creative Network and hosted by Kenny Fitz.
We acknowledge that the Out Loud podcast is recorded in Mi'kma'ki, the traditional and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. This land is part of the Peace and Friendship Treaties, agreements that remind us to build relationships based on respect and care. We also acknowledge the African Nova Scotian communities who have lived here for over 400 years and continue to shape the culture and history of this province. We stand in solidarity with both Mi'kmaq and African Nova Scotian communities, and we encourage our listeners to reflect on their own relationship to the lands and communities they live in.
You know that feeling when you find your people? That's what Waves Magazine is all about. Waves Magazine is more than a publication. It's a platform for change. For over 40 years, we've uplifted LGBTQ voices from Atlantic Canada, sharing stories that resist, reflect, and inspire. From community voices and queer culture to art, activism, and everything in between, Waves is here for you. We keep you connected with event listings, Pride Festival calendars, and the incredible Halifax Rainbow Encyclopedia, a living archive of our rich queer history. Whether you're new to the region or have been out and proud for decades, Waves is your go-to source for information and is here to reflect your story, your identity, and your community. Read, share, celebrate. Because visibility is activism, and queer media is a force for change. Find your pride on the page at waves.ca. Waves Magazine. Proudly queer, proudly Atlantic, proudly ours.
Welcome back to Out Loud, everyone. We are now joined all the way from the UK, I believe in Edinburgh. You can correct me if I'm wrong. It is rising pop star Aidan Jones. Aidan, welcome to Out Loud.
Hello, thank you for having me.
I'm excited to have you because I've been excited by you as an artist now for 6 months going. As we were just talking about before we started kind of recording, you popped up in April with Mine, your very first, I think that was your debut single. Yeah. And I've been a fan ever since. So it's great to be able to kind of connect with such a... Anyways, I have lots to say, but I'm going to ask you first. How long have you actually been doing it? I know that was your debut single, but how did you get started in music?
So I wrote my first song when I was 12. I remember being 12 and I had just started high school, which I don't know if that's different in Canada, but I was 12. And I had a crush on this guy at the bus stop, and I went home and I ran home and I wrote a song on the ukulele. And then a few years later, I released a song when I was 16, which has now been taken off of platforms, it was just fun. I didn't really take that very seriously. And then I dropped out of university when I was 17. I was only there for a week. And I started working with my producer in Manchester. I went from Edinburgh to Manchester, and we started this project with this song that came out last night. And yeah, I've been working at it for 2 years, and my first song came out in April.
Yeah.
So we're 6 months in, and it's going well. I'm enjoying it.
It is going well, I would say. 4 singles, 6 months. Yeah. And what I will say is, now Boyfriend is out, and Boyfriend's the new single. But what I will say is that I've listened to, and I've kind of come along with a lot of artists since starting this platform who have started out and they've kind of fumbled through and trying to figure out what their sound is. And, maybe some of their earlier work, they're kind of like, I don't know if I, really love it anymore. But what I will say is that you kind of came out of the gate with a sound, a quality of sound, a real strength in musicality, and a lyrical kind of understanding. Like, you are a songwriter, and it 1000% shows in what you've been putting out. And
thank you so much.
Where does that come from? Like, when you're sitting, like, honestly, when you're sitting down and you're, starting to plan and say, I just want to write a song. And I know that, I think, Isn't He Pretty kind of was inspired by Heartstopper. which I totally can completely get that. I understand where that kind of comes from. But when you sit down to write, where does that come from?
For specifically this project, I didn't really want to go in with wanting to write a specific genre. It was kind of like I wanted just to walk in. It was my first sort of collection of songs that I wanted to make. So I just wanted to go in and write whatever I was feeling, and whether that be like a heavier indie rock track like my song Kiss, or a pop track like mine. I just wanted to write anything I was feeling in that moment. So I was trying to let go of the stress of putting myself in a box. And I think from that, it's gave me a nice space to play in the sense of I can make any sort of genre at the moment because I'm still in the beginning stages of everything, you know?
It is 100, yeah, completely. And you referenced Kiss, and that was your second single.
Yeah.
And the lead in on that track is much more of an aggressive indie rock kind of sound, but it fits with what you're putting out. Like it's not like it feels out of place. Because Boyfriend, folks, if you haven't heard it yet, you're going to hear it on this podcast, is really, and I referenced this and I said this to you before we even again started recording. When I was a kid, that's the kind of song I would have like literally floated around listening to because it spoke to me. It spoke so unforced and so naturally to the queer boy experience, I will say, of first love, of being, caught up in the emotions of it without it being, I guess, like I said, forced or traumatized or, kind of tortured or anything like that. It's just
Yeah.
such a swiftly kind of just flowing track. And that kind of, I mean, I don't know who your producer is, but your producer must be so good and understand
Yes.
who you are so well.
Yeah. First of all, thank you for saying that. That's the whole reason I've made these songs is I just think as queer people, specifically when I was growing up, I wasn't sure of where I stood in the sense of feeling recognized in storytelling overall. I didn't feel like there was many stories like Heartstopper that was showing just love, that wasn't traumatized, that didn't have I just wanted to make songs that felt true to the experience of being a boy who likes boys, and there's not really much more to it. It's not got any like sexual undertones, which it can sometimes, sure, like that's fine. But I just wanted to make a project that had just love songs about boys that made boys think about other boys, you know?
Absolutely. What I took from it was, and what I take from your music, especially the last two singles, Boyfriend, but before that was Isn't He Pretty?
Yeah.
And the moment I heard Isn't He Pretty, I was kind of like, to quote the kids, I'm a little bit older, I was gagged.
You're
Um,
gagged.
you know, because I think what I take from it and what I got from it was that growing up, you watch, and when you're trying to figure out yourself, and you're different, that you like boys, and you try to frame it differently, maybe in your head, you end up watching, and it's like watching a side movie of your guy friends or girlfriends going through the emotions of young love and fun, like fumbling through all of it, right? And crushes and stuff like that. So it's like you're watching it, but what you did was you took that feeling of what they were experiencing and put it into a song, but framed it around just the queerness of it. And that to me, first of all, is incredibly smart because there's a lot of people out there who want that, but it's also very brilliant how you did it. And I think that, like I said, the writing and the production and how you've brought this together, all of your songs, but the last two especially, is really something special. And I can't emphasize it enough to people. And I tell people all the time, it's like, have you heard it? I just referenced it the other day in an interview where people are asking me, who do you think is like, out there that's really kind of doing it? And I was like, have you listened to Aidan Jones? And they're like, no. And I put on the song and they were like, this is so good. And I think it's because we're now starting to get more, and people know that it's possible. People know that this music is out there, and they're starting to kind of want it more and search for it more. So you must have, and I'm sure, not to speak for you, but I'm sure you must have a lot of younger or just artists and just queer people themselves reaching out to you.
Yeah, it's been, I wasn't really sure what to expect. As you said, it's kind of like untouched territory, kind of. I was unsure of how it was going to be taken, specifically just in the scene that I've grown up in. I don't really know anyone that's making music like me, that's writing specifically about the topics that I'm writing about. But yeah, I've had really lovely messages from quite a few guys or just queer people, specifically with Isn't He Pretty. They were sending me photos of their partners and just like telling me that like they listen to that song and think of each other. And that's exactly what I wanted. Like that's just my dream overall. Like I don't think of big venues or selling out arenas or shows. All I want is just like a few people like me to listen to my songs and hear themselves and see their partners in it.
Well, I think that you won't have too hard of a time because I think that these songs are going to really keep climbing in the streams and that kind of thing. But I totally see you becoming a staple within the music industry, especially around just kind of not worrying about, again, that kind of flash in the pan, I need to be a star kind of thing. It's really about the longevity of a career. And I see that completely for you. I mean, just in 4 songs, I can't believe the quality in these first 4 songs. So are you trained? Did you take music training when you were younger?
Well, I done musical theater from
It always starts with musical
it's
theater, my
always
friend.
it's
It
always
always
musical
does.
theater. Always musical theater. I So I done vocal lessons at the musical theater school for an hour every week for maybe for 5 years, And then in high school, every 2 weeks we'd have a half an hour vocal lesson. But apart from that, it's just kind of me winging it and not really knowing what I'm doing and shooting in the dark. But I've sung my whole life from the moment I came out of the womb. I was singing, but not much training,
Well,
self-taught.
then it's a genetic thing somewhere because there's lots going on that is very, very good.
Thank
You
you so much.
you said that I think it's been 2 years. You started writing Boyfriend 2 years ago. Was that right?
Coming up 2 years. I so I started the initial ideas for it before I turned 18, but I never like started properly writing it. And then in around November time in 2023, I met Toby, my producer, when I just cold called him and I was like, "Hi, my name's Aidan. I'm just about to turn 19 and I've got these songs and I would love for you to work on them, please." And I went down and we recorded the song. So yeah, it's coming up 2 years.
That's well, I mean, the gestation period of that I think is really paying off because it's a phenomenal song. Uh, Give us the Cole's notes of where all of it came from, the story
So
behind the song.
the secret sauce. Um, so obviously I wanted to write a song about a queer relationship. And I've always loved in any sort of media, whether it be a book, a TV show, a film, a will they, won't they story. And I thought, why not write a story like that, but based in my hometown in Edinburgh? We've got the old town. So I don't know if you've ever seen any photos of Edinburgh, but it's basically the part of Edinburgh that's based on like no, that Harry Potter is based on. And I wanted just to write this like night out messy story about me and a guy, which it did happen, but I zhuzhed it up a little bit. Yeah, I wanted to write a will they won't they love story, and I like how a lot of the song I'm just asking a guy to be my boyfriend, and we never really get an answer to the question because that's a lot of my experience overall in romance is just like situationships and the messy push and pull of it all. So I wanted to write a song like that for guys who like guys, you know?
Well, I'm glad that you actually can have that experience
Mhm.
because I think it's really important, and I think it's really important for other, young men and women, and trans and non-binary youth to be able to have those experiences because they are formative. They are part of, that as we get older, we cast our, minds back and we think about those younger times, and being left feeling like I wish I would have been able to have that experience I don't think anybody should feel in that position. So for you to be able to have them, I think it's really important. So you sharing music like this, I think actually helps others maybe have the courage to have those experiences as well and to want them.
I hope so.
So Boyfriend is the current single, and I think we need to take a listen to it right now. So I'm going to toss it to you. I'm going to ask you to introduce your song.
Oh, yay, my first time doing this. Okay. I'm Aidan Jones, and this is my new single, Boyfriend.
He thought I was too drunk to understand. I knew he was perfect, and it's hurting, and so I'll do whatever I can to help him understand. So I said, kiss me slow and pretend that you mean it, pretend that you feel it, 'cause you're breaking my heart too fast to understand. But you said no, but what are you thinking? What have you been drinking? You said that I'm moving too fast to understand. But you said no, why wouldn't you? 'Cause you're so cool. I think it's cruel to look like that and let me down. Would it be better? Would it be better if I weren't around? If I weren't around. Kiss me slow and pretend that you mean it, pretend that you feel it, 'cause you're breaking my heart too fast to understand. But you said no, but what are you thinking? What have you been drinking? You said that I'm moving too fast to understand. That's when I said, will you be my boyfriend? My boyfriend. Will you be my boyfriend? Will you be my boyfriend? Will you be my boyfriend? My boyfriend. Kiss me slow and pretend that you mean it, pretend that you feel it, 'cause you're breaking my heart too fast to understand. But you said no, but what are you thinking? What have you been drinking? You said that I'm moving too fast to understand. That's when I said, will you be my boyfriend? That's when I said, will you be my boyfriend? My boyfriend, my boyfriend.
Welcome back to Out Loud, everyone. We are still chatting with UK pop sensation. I love to put monikers on people. You are UK's pop sensation, Aidan Jones. You just heard Boyfriend, and it's out now. It's everywhere. If you have not checked out Aidan on social media, it's at Aidan Jones Music, and you can find all the information out in the notes of this podcast if you're listening to it. But Aidan, so this is the latest. What are we thinking of for the future? What's the goal? Do you have a roadmap, or are you just taking it as it comes?
I have a roadmap. I know the final destination. I know where we're going, because I've been making this project, this collection of songs for the past 2 years when we started with Boyfriend. We've got a few more tracks to come. I've been quite strategic with the release plan. I've made it all I'm releasing it as my favorites. So Boyfriend is my favorite now. The next song is my favorite. The next song after that is my favorite, and so on. So I'm saving the best to last, I think.
As a collection so far, there isn't a miss in the bunch, right? There's not. They're all great. And each in their own individual kind of way. And I still kind of think back about Kiss, about how the edge that's on that song. What kind of other soundscapes do you like to play in? Like, are you thinking of ballads? Like that is something that is, I mean, ballads are, and I'm thinking musical theater. We know that ballads can come out of musical theater. So I'm curious about that, like that kind of different variety of what you're playing with.
So funny you mentioned there is some sort of ballad that'll be coming out this year. Not a musical theatre ballad, not this time, maybe next time. But there is a ballad coming out this year. We're playing with a lot of different sounds. We've got in the singles I've released so far, we've not used any keys yet. We've not Boyfriend's the first song that you can really dance to. So I'm very excited for the next single, which isn't too far away actually. And that's going to be fun. That's quite different as well. I'm enjoying just seeing people's reactions to how different I'm making all the songs. I think this is the only time in my life I'm ever going to make a project that's so diverse in all the genres.
What's been the biggest surprise for you in releasing this music that you went, I never expected, or it's kind of like, wow, that really took off over in this area.
Well, first of all, I just didn't expect anyone to really care.
No,
And that's not like in a pessimistic way. I just thought I was going to release it, and it was going to be a passion project, and I was just going to move on to the next. Specifically, it being the first 6 months, I feel very lucky and very fortunate with the way it's going. And I'm very grateful. I'm happy with what's happening. I was very surprised with how Isn't He Pretty done on Spotify, specifically with the editorial playlists. I just didn't expect any of that to happen. And I just assumed when it happened with Isn't He Pretty, it was a fluke. But I've woke up this morning with a few more editorials as well, which was exciting. But I'm just happy with whatever. I'll take whatever I'll get, you know. I'm just very grateful.
I'm not surprised that the editorialists are picking up on it because, I mean, the folks who are out there now who are really kind of starting to curate those lists are getting a bit more savvy. I think at first we started to see a lot of the expected, and now we're really starting to see some of those curators bend an ear a little bit more and open up the volume of what can come through, because they do have, I mean, we all know Spotify is, whether you want to demonize it or love it, it doesn't matter. It is what it is. And it is a funnel for so many folks. And they're starting to be a little bit more, I think just generous in the net that they're casting, I think, for folks. So it doesn't surprise me, because I think that the moment you hear your music, I think that they can hear that this belongs somewhere with releasing and things like that. And you mentioned the PR release, and that you're very hands-on, I'm assuming, and
Yes.
you have a very bold vision, I think, correct?
Yes. Yes. Pretty much only me. I'm a one-man show at the moment. Um,
Preach, I hear you.
I, yeah, and it's fun. I feel very grateful to be able to do that. I've worked in nurseries, I've worked in supermarkets, I've worked in pizza shops, I've worked in cafes just to afford this project. And I think that's just such a fortunate thing to be able to do. And so many people out there have dreams like me and want to do the exact same thing and just aren't in the position to be able to do it. So I feel very fortunate with the way I'm doing it with the one man show. But as you know, it's many hats to wear. And I'm very picky with how things look. I work with amazing photographers. This song that came out last night, Boyfriend, was with one of my friends, Megan Henderson, who's so talented and has worked with so many amazing acts from Scotland specifically. So I'm very fortunate with what I'm doing by myself, but it is hard work doing it all alone.
You've made some friends in the industry. I know that because I creep and on social media and things. And,
Yeah.
I'd like to know kind of what's happening out there. You do have a good friend in Aaron Denning, who is another singer-songwriter who I've had on the podcast before. I've played on the podcast. I actually haven't spoken with Aaron. How is that for you? Have you been able to tap into other artists who are out there, and to try to look at to see whether or not you would like to collaborate or just kind of to kind of connect with?
Yeah, well, Aaron actually works with the same producer as I work with. Is the same producer in Toby, and Aaron is a new friend of the past 6 months, and he's just an angel. You should get him on the podcast. He's the funniest guy. And it's nice to have someone in Aaron specifically because he's doing something that's quite similar to me, which kind of feels like no man's land, making songs like this and similar topics. So when Toby said, "Oh, I'm working," Aaron started working with Toby maybe like 3 or 4 months after me. So we've known each other for ages, and it's really nice to know someone that is kind of walking the same path as you. Yeah, he's the best. You should get him on.
It will happen. It will happen. I know you'll
I
see him before I even speak to him, so let him know. Um,
will.
yeah, it's kind of interesting how, I mean, I track so many different artists around the world, and I see populations starting to kind of pop up here and there. And that, in the UK, there's always been a little bit more of a fluidity for queer artists to be able to kind of maneuver around. Maybe they haven't been as vocal. I mean, to have and I'll reference like somebody who's maybe in your same area of music is Fred Roberts. Fred Roberts kind of coming out and being out there, having young men out there like that, who are not pushing, and this is not a commentary on anything, but the expectation sometimes from gay men, queer men, is that it will become drag, or it will become hypersexualized, or it will become I hate to say depressing or dour, but there's just this expectation that
Yeah.
it's going to go into different streams. But yourself,
Mm.
much like Fred, much like Aaron, actually, you
Yeah.
folks are creating just really solid, great music, and it just happens to come from a queer lens. And I think
Yeah.
it's probably why it is actually taking off. Where maybe some other artists struggle is that I think that people can, whether they're queer or not, I think can relate,
Yeah.
and are finding that commonality in there, which I think is a great thing. Not to say that the other styles of music need to go away. I think that people need to find their comfort in the commonalities they can experience in that music as well. It's just that
Yeah.
the world has put up barriers around everybody, and says, well, if it's drag, and drag has come under fire in the past few years, and if it's too sexualized, that it means that we're apparently going to take everyone to hell. People get so wrapped up in these weird barriers that have been put up to make us think a specific way, that I think that when a song like Boyfriend comes along, and a song like Isn't He Pretty comes along, it's kind of like, oh, I get that. I can relate to that without the pressure of worrying about what the world is saying.
Yeah.
It's so, even for me to even say these things, it just sounds like you're living in some kind of, theater of the absurd. I think that that's one of the reasons that, people gravitate towards it. And I think that you're going to probably find artists coming to you and saying, hey, we should connect on this. That being said, question, who would you like to see actually? Who, if you had to, queer artists or not queer artists, who would it, be out there that you'd be like, oh, I really love their music, I would love to collaborate with that person?
That is such a difficult
I know,
question.
I like to do it.
Well, I love writing, first of all. Like we said earlier, I love writing. So as much as I love doing this and releasing my own music, if anyone out there wants to write a song with me, and write about their life, specifically a queer experience, I'm the boy. I'm ready for it. I'm ready to go. But recently, if we're talking about an actual collaboration, if we're talking about shooting for the stars in 10 years, I seen Chapel Roan maybe a month ago play at her biggest headline show, and it was in Edinburgh. And I was so moved by the performance. I just thought it was one of the best things I had seen. It was the closest pop show to what I would want to do in the future. So that's shooting for the stars, but Chapel Roan would be a really, really sick collaboration in any way she would ever want to interact with me. I'd be down.
You listen, you never know what will happen in the future, and
Never
I
know.
like to manifest things. So
So do
it's
I.
I think it's important to have, shoot for the stars moments, because you're backing yourself. I know that there's a lot of people who are backing you, and I think that as you kind of travel along whatever comes next, you're saying there's a few more tracks probably this year that you're going to release. I think that the momentum will continue to build. Now, 2025, not that we want to say goodbye to it, but it has been a bananas year. It is like Nutter Butters. You can't go online and without going, how does this
Is going
world
on?
continue to get more bizarre? But what do you hope for 2026? And is there, things that you're hoping will happen?
Well, I'm already laying kind of the groundwork, it feels like, for 2026. 2025 has felt quite transitional for me. As I said, I released my first song 6 months ago, so I'm just half a year into my music journey, kind of, 2026, I really hope to play a few shows, maybe a headline. I've never played a headline show before, so I would love to do that. And I think a lot more new music. I've been writing a lot recently. I never know really what's going to happen. 2026 feels like light years away, but I see a lot of new music and live shows and a lot of fun, I hope.
What type of live shows are you doing right now?
Right now, I'm not doing any. I've been really focused on making this project, and because I'm by myself, I've been focusing on the promotion of it all.
Mm.
I've got one show this year supporting my friends Low Tide in Edinburgh. But other than that, I've been really focusing on just getting these songs out and then starting the process of getting some shows in, specifically in Edinburgh, but also in Manchester and London as well.
That would be awesome. I might have
Yeah.
to fly.
Fly over.
Listen, I need a vacation. Speaking of playing shows and queer music and all of this, who are I mean, you mentioned Chapel Roan, but who are some of the queer artists that maybe you listen to that are out there that people may never get a chance to hear of, or that you really gravitate towards?
Well, I love that you brought up Aaron, first
Mm.
of all, because I love Aaron's music. I love him as a person, but I also love his music. Obviously, we know about the Troy Sivans and the Conan Greys. I just think, although they're massive pop stars, I just think they deserve all the recognition they get. I think they're great. Yeah, I don't know. I listen to so much music by so many people. I'm not sure, but I do love Aaron's music. Aaron's music really speaks to me. And I really admired what you said about, oh, and Fred Roberts too. I love Fred. Fred and Aaron, I love their music because although they're writing about queer love as I am, I really I really like the fact that they're writing about their human experience. It's not like they're going into a writing session wanting to write about a queer experience. Their experience is queer as much as it's just a human experience. And that's something I want to take into my music as well that I really admire about those guys.
I agree wholeheartedly with you. I think that there's just such a long road for you, and I think it's filled with so many great moments that I'm excited by to watch it all kind of like happen for you. And I'm sure it's going to be nerve-wracking, and I'm sure it's going to be, exciting and everything. But I think it's going to be probably everything that you hoped that it would be.
Thank you so much. That's so kind. I really hope it is. And I'm so grateful for you putting me on this platform. I remember when you put Isn't He Pretty as the cover as New Queer Friday, I was working at a pizza restaurant and I seen it on my phone and I ran to the toilets and I locked the door and I was just like standing there freaking out in silence. I was so excited. It made my life. I would never think to be on the cover of any sort of playlist. So to be on the cover of a playlist that I admire so much was really cool. So thank
Well,
you.
listen, I'm happy to do it. And if you happen to check out the current New Queer Friday, you may see a similar thing happening. I can't guarantee, well, yes, I can. But I think that it's really important when it's one thing where you're creating music and you're, using your experiences and your voice to talk about, everything in your life, but also it connects with others. I really think it's important, and I hold others who do this to task, that it's really important for us to, if we've created a platform, to give space to these artists who never get a chance sometimes to ever be heard, or if they're just starting out, help them out, because it's such a long slog and it's a hard slog to be out there, not just writing the music. I don't know how you write music, so even that would be a challenge. But you're writing it, you're, the lyrics, you're working with producers, you're doing your own publicity, you're hitting the bricks, you're, putting yourself out there and working to try to make yourself into a songwriter that maybe that will become your actual livelihood, which fingers crossed, and I think it will happen. But it is a really hard go of it. And I don't think sometimes we take enough time to realize that to get to where a Conan Gray is or a Fred Roberts is, and Fred Roberts is still kind of moving up the ranks a bit, but to get there, it takes a lot. And there's a lot of hard knocks and there's a lot of hard work. So I think if we have platforms, it's really important for us to make sure that we keep our eyes and ears out to be able to help and, share the good fortune that you're experiencing and the great music that you're creating. So I'm happy to do it. And if you're out there listening and you have a platform like this, please do these things and get Aidan on your podcast.
Please.
Well, I think we need to check out another song. We're going to listen to, and I think we're going to listen to two. I think we're going to listen to Isn't He Pretty and Kiss. But
What?
Hit me up. Tell me a little bit about Isn't He Pretty?
Well, Isn't He Pretty? It was about the first crush I ever had on a boy. So I remember being maybe 8 or 9, maybe. And I just remember, the feelings that you have when you have a crush on someone. And I just felt drawn to this guy, but I didn't know I liked guys. I didn't know if that was okay to like guys. And looking back now, it just makes me laugh and it makes me happy. It feels so innocent. So I wanted to make a song that felt as innocent as Isn't He Pretty? In this space of music and queer music, like you said, sometimes it can be hypersexualized or it can have ulterior motives, which is okay. I think that's okay because there's parts of human experiences that have those hypersexualized moments, but I think we were lacking songs about small innocent moments between two queer people. So I wanted to write Isn't He Pretty? And then I seen Heartstopper and I was like, oh my God, okay, people are interested in this sort of thing. I need to write a song. So yeah, Isn't He Pretty came before Heartstopper, but when I watched Heartstopper, I was running to the studio, making sure I was getting the song recorded. And we watched 2 episodes of Heartstopper while we were recording it, which is a fun fact.
It fits. And I know that Heartstopper has ended and there's still a movie to come, but folks who are making movies and shows like that need to think about if queer music in queer stories that are on film, and they need to also think about Aidan Jones when they're making these things. All right. Well, listen, I want to thank you for coming and joining me, and you're busy, and I'm so excited by everything. But I just want to thank you for stopping in and chatting with us.
No, thank you so much, Kenny. I really appreciate your continuous support and getting me on my first podcast. I'm so excited to be on.
I love it. But I'm going to toss it back to you again and get you to introduce Isn't He Pretty?
I'm Aidan Jones, and this is Isn't He Pretty? Yeah.
I can't look away from him. Fell for him without warning, but I tried. It's in the way he looks at me. He makes it so hard to breathe. I think I might have felt too deep. I want him with all of me, 'cause isn't he pretty? I like him. Isn't he pretty? I like him. I tried, but I couldn't help it. Fell for you easily. It's kind of feeling reckless. Now I'm tongue-tied. Wonder if you'd miss if he'd kiss me. It's in the way he looks at me. He makes it so hard to breathe. I think I might have fell too deep. I want him with all of me, 'cause isn't he pretty? I like him. Isn't he pretty? I like him. I like It's in the way he looks at me. He makes it so hard to breathe. I think I might have fell too deep. I want him with all of me, 'cause isn't he pretty? He's so pretty, he's everything I think about. He's so pretty, he's so pretty, he's so pretty, and he's everything I think about. He's so pretty, he's so pretty. I can't figure out what you're doing to me. Every time that you say my name, baby, it's lovely. I think you're lovely, but I hate that it came to this, 'cause I'm starting to feel it now. I feel like such a fool, 'cause I can't look your way in conversation. What am I supposed to do? Now I wanna kiss you. I wanna kiss you. If you want me back, won't you tell me, darling? 'Cause you could do whatever you like to me, honey. But I hate that it came to this, 'cause I'm starting to feel it now. I feel like such a fool, 'cause I can't look your way in conversation. What am I supposed to do? Now I wanna kiss you. Let's do something that we both regret. Who said that you can kiss your friends and probably won't be for the best? Would you risk it all just to kiss me? But I hate that it came to this, 'cause I'm starting to feel it now. I feel like such a fool,